Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today I'm going to tell you about the basic and the most important topic in our programming language, which are classes and object programming. What are the classes and why we use them in our program? Classes are basically the way to create a new kind of objects. What does it mean? Like we want to create any object and we want to reuse them in anywhere in any other code, so we make classes. So it store our data as an object. As we know that the Python, in everything in Python is basically an object. So what are the classes? Classes are the new way or way to create a kind of objects, to create a kind of object. So they are more central to OOP. What is OOP? Object oriented programming. So they are basically central to OOP. And as we are already familiar with objects, I already told you about objects, their types, values, and identity. So same is the case with class. Sorry class defines the set of attributes mean having some name, type, behavior. So classes define set of attributes. Okay, now typically the classes are the set of functions, variables, or properties. We create functions, we assign values to variables, or we declare variables and we assign, and the variables have some properties. So same is the case with classes. Classes have some set of functions, some variables, and properties. They are created in Python using the class statement, or class keyword is used to create a class. They are defined as a shared attribute. What does it mean, defined as a shared attribute? Shared attribute mean that we can reuse them in any other class, or we can reuse them in any other code. Like if we make a class and we want to use the same class in any other code or in any other method, in any other code, so we can use these classes. So these are the set of shared attribute. So any class usually consists of number of methods, class variables, functions, anything. So classes have the all these things: data types, variables, functions. The most important thing, the methods that we the methods or function that are defined inside the class are called the instance methods. They are basically the instant method that are defined inside the class. So they apply some class operation to class instance by passing an instance of that class as a first argument. We can apply the class operations by passing these instance of a classes as a first arguments. I'm going to write here as an example of a class, or we will create a employee class and we will give them the name, rate, and the ors. We will create some methods such as ors, pay, and all these methods, and we will give them the name and rate as an argument, and we will print out the employee data in the class employee. So there's in class employee having object. Okay, so num employee is equals to 0. We are initializing a num employee equals to 0. We are creating a method which will, and we will pass them some arguments, which is self and individual or employee itself, name of the employee, and rate to calculate. Okay, this is a method for storing the data of employee. So now we will give an individual employee which is in the any company. We will say the self dot ord, and we will give the name self dot name, and we'll set the rate self dot rate, and then we will set an employee, like how many number of employee. If there are 2 employees, then we will increment the number of employees by 1. So here self code is equals to 0, self dot name is equals to name. We are setting the name. We are not initializing, we are not doing the inline initialization. We will pass these values, or we will pass the values by making another function, or by using some variable. So self dot rate is equals to rate, and employee dot num employee plus equals to 1, because we are saying that initially the employees are 0. So we are setting the name of the employee, we will calculate the rate, and we are saying that the number of if there are more than 1 employee, so increment the employee value by 1. Now we are creating another method with name del, which will calculate the number if we want to delete the employees, so it will decrement employee by 1, because in companies there some employees are added in the company and some employees are removed from the company. So so these are the methods for adding or for deleting the employees. So see, we are decrementing here. So here's another method for calculating the hours, hours of work the employee worked in how many hours. So hours num hours. Here we are passing some arguments here, and this we will use some formula to calculate the hours. No, sorry. Yes, to calculate the some rate or hours, or individual hours, or pay, or sorry, individual hours and rate, to know the value. We are not initializing here these hours and rate here, because we will pass them as an argument, and their values will be stored in another variable. So return, we will return %2 dash how many hours worked. We calculated the formula above. Num hours. Okay, so we will create another method for pay of an individual person, individual employee, sorry. Individual person pay is initially 0, so now it will return Okay, now what we are doing here is we are just assigning the variable. Sorry, there is this is not a num, this is a name. So what we are doing here, we are initializing the original we are initializing the employees, number of employees with 0, and we are creating some methods for inserting the employees in the company or for deleting the employees. If we want to add the employees, we will increment the employees value. If we want to delete the employees, we will decrement the employees value. And we are creating an ORs method or function to calculate the ORs, and we are creating a pay method to calculate the pay. Okay, now we will check here if there's any error or not. No, there is no error. Now I already told you that you don't have to give the values, or you don't have to initialize the all the values like name and rate in the above methods. We will pass the values to these arguments by using another variable. Like I'm going to create an employee1 variable. Employee1 is equals to employee, and I'll give the employee1 the name Jill, for example, and I'll give it a rate which is like 18.5. Okay, employee 2 is equals sorry is equals to employee 15.5. Okay, now we gave them a value, there is no error. Now how will we call the function, or how will we use the function? We will use the above functions or methods by using the class name employee. So employee is the class name. Now we are calling the class employee, and what we want to know that how many employees we have given in here. So how many employees we gave them? Two employees, employee 1 and employee 2. Now we want to calculate the number of employees, so we will call the num employees by using the class name. So num employee, so it will calculate the number of employees. See, we gave the two employees, employee 1 and employee 2. So here are the two employees. It gave us the number of employees because there are two employees we added in our company. Now we want to calculate the numbers or hours employee work. So we will, if we want to calculate the hours worked of employee 1, so this is how we will write. Why are they, it's giving an error? Sorry, here's a mistake, I guess. See, because here we are returning a float data type or float type of data, so it's returning float. We already gave it an integer, so it will return the value in float as well because we are giving it a float variable. And if we want to calculate the uh, the self ord, which we wrote a formula, means individual employee owed how many pay or how many individual employee work and its rate is. So it will print out the self owed. Wait. Now it calculated 185 using this formula, which is num ors and self rate. This is a rate, this is a rate, and ors are this. So 10 multiplied by 18, 180 ors. Sorry, 18.5 multiplied by 10, so 185.0. And if you want to calculate the pay, so it will return us the pay. Why did it giving us the error? Wait, let me check. we didn't use the method pay Jill. It returned us the paid Jill. Means the Jill got its pay. So hope you understood the topic.